Oh, there's chaos on the track. The team are really disappointed with that.
Hi everyone, Jacals, good to see you. Welcome to the first episode of Alpha of the Pack. This is the F1 Manager 2022 series where I'll be taking control of AlphaTauri, and the long-term objective is pretty much make sure that there's 2 Red Bull affiliated teams on the top of the pile. Obviously, taking control of AlphaTauri, we are going to be faced with many struggles financially, driver-wise. This is the F1 Manager 2 series where I can control the long-term objective is pretty much make sure that there's 2 Red Bull affiliated teams on the top of the pile. Obviously, taking control of AlphaTauri, we are going to be faced with many struggles financially, driver-wise. This is the F1 Manager 2 series where I can control of AlphaTauri. The long-term objective is pretty much make sure that there's 2 Red Bull, kind of similar to what we've done for our Motorsport Manager series, and that is try and compress it down, try and get 2 races per video in. So I'll be showing you mainly like highlights from races and stuff like that, but as always, feedback is always welcomed. The comment section underneath is the perfect place for that. Now while you're down there, make sure, God, I need to be careful how I say that, while you are looking at the comments underneath or looking at the video description, please make sure you throw a like over to the video. More likes on the video, the more comments on the video, it just means that this grows to more people and we can get many more amazing individuals such as yourselves watching these videos, sharing it about, and the more the merrier, right? If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do so. We don't just do F1 Manager over here, we do a lot of iRacing, other lots of sim racing. Slowly going to be phasing some more sports stuff into the channel as well. So hey, another one for the comment section underneath. Any particular sports series you want me to do in this style you're about to watch as well. But this will be the last you see of my face until towards the end of the video. I like to keep the camera off while everything else is going on. It gives you lot the a little bit more to look at, you know. So enjoy the episode and I shall see you at the end.
Formula One, a sport that spans hearts, minds and nations, where the 20 best drivers in the world come together to take on some of the world's most historic circuits. And that legacy continues today. The 2021 championship was thrilling from start to finish, and 2022 is set to be even better. New regulations will usher in an age of pioneering changes. New driving talent alongside returning champions will be dueling it out to the bitter end. The pressure will be on the team principals in the upcoming season as they manage their drivers, their cars, and the whole team to push to victory. This is not a challenge for the faint-hearted. This is Formula One.
And now for a quick introduction to our team for this series, AlphaTauri.
AlphaTauri have been a name in Formula One since 2020. They're renowned for being the proving ground for talented new F1 drivers. Last season they ended in 6th overall. Driver Pierre Gasly also earned them an impressive podium finish in Baku. Heading into 2022, the team continue to develop their current driver pairing of Yuki Tsunoda and Gasly. They'll want to continue scoring regular points and begin working their way past the other midfield contenders.
So a lot of this video today is going to be very behind the scenes heavy. As future episodes come out, the videos will be a little bit shorter, a few more highlights, and just a nice bite-sized episode for you to sink your teeth into. Let's crack on with it. So this is it, the start of our journey with AlphaTauri, as we try to get up to the level of the Red Bulls. It's going to be a long journey, but I feel we can, with quite a lot of upgrades, get there eventually. Maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but it could take 3-4 seasons for us to get to a level that we feel is ultra competitive. You can already see that our parts are very sort of mid-table. A lot of 13ths in there, a few 11ths, but what we're going to do straight away is get developing on those new parts, put in some CFD and wind tunnel hours. These do reset every, I think it's 56 days. Yep, 56 days just there. So we're going to make our first upgrades, pretty big upgrades. So we're going to be juicing those up. Our focus presets, we usually go for balance, but don't be afraid to click on each one. Double check with the suggested car performance on the right hand side, and sometimes you will have to sacrifice one part of your car to vastly improve the other. Luckily for us, we managed to find something at a happy medium here and boost the car up quite a bit actually, so some decent upgrades coming through in the very near future. We'll take a few races, but once we get them, I feel we'll be flying. We have specifically gone for front wing and the underfloor as well. Doing a quick scouting on what the new values are going to be, I feel we can cover the majority of the car's stats with those two very simple parts. Balancing out the engineers used plus the testing and keeping the approach to normal, meaning that the upgrades that we are going to build will hopefully make quite a large difference down the line. Just going to be manufacturing a few extra parts here and there as well, just to keep up with the demand of the season. Moving on to our drivers, Pierre Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. See, there's a lot of average potentials in there. Very few months remaining on the contract. I'm very tempted to re-sign Gasly. We'll see how Tsunoda gets on, but it also depends on the drivers market, and we will be replacing Lawson, unfortunately. We just have to get some scouting going to see who will be a very suitable reserve driver replacement. Maybe you lot can give me a hand with that. Let me know underneath in the comments who you think we should sign for our new reserve driver. Who you've been using? Who has been showing the most amount of potential? Another reason we'll be kicking Lawson is a very low cost to break contract, which is very important in this game. I've seen a lot of people have said they're going to be replacing their drivers straight away. Be very careful of this value because it could make or break or potentially ruin your team for future development and upgrades. So who do we replace him with? Well, we've got an absolute massive amount of drivers from F2, F3 and beyond that we can choose. We just have to make sure that the driver that we want has been driving in F2 or F3 for at least 2 years. So some of the very young drivers in this list, you are going to have to wait a couple of seasons, but if you want to scout them now, you can still scout them now. In the end, we went for these four gentlemen, so in a couple of days, let's see how all this goes. Just not VIPs, anyone but VIPs. Facilities. One of the reasons why just sacking off your driver straight away might not be the best of plans. Now, for car development, it does get very expensive. You're going to need at least 7.5 mil for the lower level stuff, and it does get pretty damn expensive for upkeep as well. However, we'll be going on to the staff and operations tabs to increase the team attractiveness, driver development and staff plus driver morale. It's a lot cheaper, it's a lot less upkeep, and the bonuses, we should hopefully feel them sooner rather than later, especially when it comes to morale, and we really need our drivers to go above and beyond for the absolute state that the AlphaTauri is in at the moment. We placed a lot of orders on the staff and operations side, including like a helipad, weather center, boardroom, and hopefully in the next week, 2 weeks, we'll start to see them get built and the differences happen as quick as a flash. Just a couple of bits to go and then we'll get to the practice and race weekend. I promise. So with the board objectives, we've got a simple 6th place. However, over the next few seasons, we need to be finishing on the podium consistently. We have until 2025 to do that. The seasonal budgets are okay for AlphaTauri compared to a lot of the other cars, teams even. And the team ratings, we are 1 away from underdog. Being established is actually going to help us more than you think. Being rated low means that what the board wants for us is a little bit lower as well. We could definitely do with that for our first season. We are going to be making a decent amount per month, not including some of the extra sponsor objectives that we are going to be trying to achieve during our races this season. So we're not in any danger of going under at all. We haven't made any drastic drastic spends as of yet. That will probably be coming a little bit later in the season with research and when we start sorting out some of the contracts of our drivers. That should do it for the overview of the team. Let's crack on with the story that we are about to tell. Just a quick introduction to all the staff, similar to Football Manager, just showing all the sponsor obligations. But we are going to start off today with a massive party that's only going to cost us 10 grand. You'd think like an F1 team would cost a little bit more than that. But you know what? If it improves staff morale, it improves driver morale, and it's only going to cost us $10,000. I know a deal when I see one. A few bits of the construction getting complete as well. This will only bode well when it comes to driver morale and, depending on what gets built, also the experience that they gain as well. Upon a second look at the warehouse and spare car parts that we have, we discovered that we're a little bit short on suspensions, so we're just going to get a few ones built. It's not that expensive to do, to be honest, and it's good to have a few parts, especially on this side, rather than the engine, gearbox, ERS. They do end up costing a little bit, and grid positions as well after the qualifying, so we'll get a good amount just as spares, because even during practice and qualifying, anything can happen. We are on the cusp of the race weekend, so we have a few little bits of preparation to go. Performance targets, driver overview, and just making sure all the parts are attached to the right cars. Now, with the performance targets and with sponsors, they give us targets that they expect us to reach, but we can also promise them that we're going to finish in certain places. This, as well as giving us a reward, can give us a potential loss if we don't do it and then we waste their time. Be very careful with these, but to be honest, the game does give you quite a wide scope as to what you can and can't do, so you can sort of bend the rules slightly on this, get a few extra 100k per weekend. And especially with the finish position streaks, if you, like for AlphaTauri, we're going to be going with that we finish at least 15th, both drivers, for the next 4 races. Like, we do a little bit of tweaking just to see how much money we get. In the end, we settle for both drivers finishing in the top 15 for 3 races in a row. It's going to be a nice bonus when we get that. Let's just hope we don't get involved in any unfortunate incidents or crashes. That's going to bite me. Whilst the rest of our suspension is getting manufactured, we do have 1 part spare, so we'll give that to one of the drivers now. Any boost that we can get now, we'll absolutely take that. Looking over everything, I think that's everything done. Loads of green ticks. Let's go straight to the race weekend. Let's go to Bahrain.
Welcome to the archipelago of Formula One. Bahrain might have a small land footprint, but it's showing its big spirit right now in the grandstands. Either way, it's time for another fantastic weekend of Grand Prix racing. The Bahrain International Circuit is a challenging track, and the cars routinely have to brake from high gear to low to take the narrow turns. With the need for downhill braking, the risk of locking up is one drivers will need to manage. It's all about focus and balance to get victory here. We might still be early in the season, but that doesn't mean we can sit back and relax. Everything is up for grabs, and nothing is certain at this stage. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell.
What I'm showing you in the practice today, I will not be doing in future episodes. Practice does take a while. If you're still looking at getting F1 Manager, just beware that if you do decide to go heads on with this little mini game here, it is going to take a lot of your time up. You can just have the pit crew do it for you. Sometimes that'll be a bit easier, but if you want the optimal driver setup confidence, you need to be putting quite a lot of time into this. So using the car setup sliders just there, you are looking at getting your 5 main points as optimal to the driver's perfect setup as possible. We usually go for medium or hard tyres on these to get some longer stints in. With longer stints, the track acclimatization and car parts knowledge that you see on the right hand side will slowly go up. They will go up by more and more the longer that the driver's run is as well. Driver is going to give you 5 ratings on those systems, and it's up to you to try and get them as close to optimal or great as possible. do have an option to put your reserve driver in for practice 1, but as we're not really going to be using Liam Lawson this season and replacing him, for now we just keep that to Yuki and Pierre Gasly. I'm pretty happy with the tyres, setups and run time, so let's see how it goes. We are finally starting the race weekend. Let's start with our first car coming out the garage. Want to try and get Gasly and Yuki onto the track as soon as possible to maximise the potential of this practice session. As soon as we've exited the pit lane on the UI, we've got plenty of stats, plenty of commands that we can issue to our drivers, which will affect everything from tyre degradation, our ERS battery, how much damage our engine gets, how quick we go on the track, how well we do with defending and attacking other players, as well as driver commands for not fighting the teammates, holding the cars back, which I'm still yet to get a grip on, because I will admit I have clicked those buttons at the wrong time and it has gone horrendously bad at times. I think you can all agree with me though that the visuals in this game are absolutely stunning. If we look at the bottom there, you can see that track acclimatization, the setup, and your 1 out of 5 pointers on the setup confidence are all going up as well. You got a little grid there that will show you how much they should go up by. You have 3 practice sessions. It is entirely possible to get all 100% in everything. When you finally get that 5 out of 5, you will have your radio engineer ask how the setup is. You already see it in the blue, the setup confidence good, so we know straight away that is a good sign. On my practice sessions, I usually get the drivers in as soon as that's complete, and 59%'s okay. But with the sweet spots moving, you can just tweak everything slightly and eventually get your perfect setup before sending them out to do it again and again and again. Double checking that the fuel you're putting is an acceptable amount, that the tyres that you're using aren't new tyres, because you are required to send some tyres back after every single practice, and also the setup confidence goes from bad to good to great to optimal. The closer to optimal, the better. Just also remember that any major changes does take about 4 or 5 minutes to reconfigure, so you gotta wait for that first before you can send each driver back onto the track. When each practice session is done, your drivers will slowly make their way back to the pits, where you'll be presented with this screen here after the results, obviously, where it will just show all the bonuses that your drivers will be getting for the next session. When setup confidence is set up, that performance bonus is more like 9, 10, 11, depending on how high and how close to 100 you get that bonus. Track acclimatization and car parts knowledge are only a little part of that bonus. They're not as important as the actual setup at the end. You will take those setups, go to the next session, and hopefully by the end you can get up to 100%. However, we will be simulating all the rest of the sessions before qualifying this time. Off video or off recording, I'll be doing my best to try and get as close to 100% as possible, so I could show you the exact setups that worked for me.
Today has already seen the culmination of practice, so we move on now to the all-important qualifying session. Drivers will no doubt be constantly pushing to secure a good starting place in tomorrow's race. Of course, all it takes is one momentary lapse of concentration and they can find themselves at the back of tomorrow's grid. There are always risks to be taken, but can they afford not to? Here we go, folks. It's time to get started.
Surprise, surprise though, Red Bull and Ferrari on top. Valtteri Bottas, who is going to become quite the pain in our side over this series. I can see it now. As you can see, the performance bonus giving a lovely boost there to Gasly's stats. With the AI sorting out, we actually got 92 and 83%. That should hopefully just tell you how varied the end results can be. Despite the pit crew doing a pretty good job with Gasly's setup, we did do some slight alterations. For some reason, we didn't do it for Yuki, even though Yuki's was in much more of a dire need on traction and straights. Just a quick reminder, even though a driver's setup confidence reaches 100, doesn't mean it will be the fastest setup to them. However, with a higher confidence setup, the driver does get a nice boost, so you kind of have to just roll with it, try and get that 100% anyway, and hopefully watch your drivers glide to victory. Future episodes will be showing a lot less of the qualifying, just to make the video a little bit shorter and to streamline everything, but for today we are going to be going into a little bit more detail. Qualifying at times can be all about time, and we've got a few graphs showing how busy the track is expected to be. You should just want to try and get your drivers out when everybody else is out, and try to avoid the lap traffic as much as possible. As you can see, Hamilton 3 seconds behind, probably through traffic and sending them out too early. When your drivers return to the pits, just hit the reconfigure, double check what tyres you're going to be putting on, and get refueling. Literally as easy as that. It doesn't take 4 minutes like the practice, thank God. It's nice and short, and then it's just a waiting game to try and get them out as soon as everybody else is out for that final burst, that final lap. It is exactly the same qualifying format as real life Formula 1. There's 3 qualifying sessions, the bottom 5 get eliminated with the end of each round. With this final lap we still have Hamilton as the main driver who can jump out there and knock Tsunoda out with Ricciardo. After all the laps are done though, Gasly with a very impressive top 10 just there, and Tsunoda surviving until Q2. Bad traffic on the first run means that Tsunoda is needing a big lap at the end of Q2. Just watch now and hopefully start getting some green deltas. We do for the first sector. Bit closer to the action. Tsunoda getting along. Got a few drivers finishing. Got Norris and Ricciardo down in there as well. But unfortunately it's not enough as Tsunoda gets eliminated. One more qualifying session to go. Pierre Gasly, now is your time to shine. We join Gasly now on his final lap. Halfway through the course. We do have an option to take manual control, but we'll see what happens anyway. We do have everything pretty much set to the highest options anyway, so we'll just leave those as they are. Strong first sector from Gasly, hopefully get a green on the second. We get a green on the second with 2 more long straights to go. Everyone else getting all their times in. Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz still yet to put his last time in. Bottas out qualifying Hamilton and Russell. It's now up to Gasly to see if he can get in between both of those Mercedes. And he doesn't quite, but 8th place, Alonso and Zhou behind him, is still a really, really good result. Did you see our silly decision there? We forgot to set a strategy for the race. This is not going to go well.
The Bahrain Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
Hoping for a strong start here, so we're starting both drivers on slicks. On slicks? What am I saying? Softs, sorry. Which probably isn't the best thing to do for Yuki, being as though he's a bit further back. We are going to push hard though on Gasly, see if we can get up to 7th and defend from Alonso as well. But Alonso getting past pretty damn easy there. Not the best of starts, means though Alpine and Alfa Romeo are going to be major stumbling blocks in us reaching our championship position. Now usually at the start of the race you can have a few strategies already set for you.
Now watch this. Here's Alonso's
here's Alonso's overtake. I love the replay system on this. This whole game has a real broadcast feel when managing, which is absolutely fantastic.
They've gained a position.
But before the race starts, as well as doing your tyres and your fuel, you can select a strategy. The game will give you 3 strategies to choose from, or you can do your own. Now usually I keep with the games ones, just have a quick look, decide if I want to play it safe, check the weather at the same time. But we forgot to do that today, so we are pretty much going to be winging this, playing it by ear. Gasly in 9th place, Tsunoda in 14th, let's see if we can improve on those. Fantastic, so DRS enabled. Our aim now is just to get comfortable in these DRS trains, which are going to be coming up. With DRS trains we can sort of relax on our tyres a little bit, maybe harvest some ERS battery to give us a nice speed boost when we need it the most. Especially if Yuki is going to be a little bit further back, maybe we can shortchange some people in the pits, get some positions gained through there. But Gasly, it's all about just keeping up with the front runners and not losing any more positions so we can get some higher race positions gained. But without DRS, a very strong overtake on Alonso. Tries to get a little bit back, but with aggressive settings from Gasly and a DRS as well to help him, it allows us to get a little bit closer to the Mercedes, who are being held up by Bottas at the moment.
Okay, that's good, yeah, very good.
Bottas doing absolute bits. And if we can keep really close to the Mercedes and Alonso, away from Ocon, then Gasly can just chill out wherever he is. This could end up being a really, really good race.
The brakes are really poor.
Now look at this, it's Pierre Gasly. That's the contact there. Oh, there's chaos on the track.
This could end up being a really rubbish
really
race.
Disappointed with that. Let's hope it doesn't set them back too badly.
I just had to open my big mouth, didn't I? As expected from that, we have a little bit of damage. I'm pretty sure we're going to get a penalty as well at the same time. Gasly's race is, unless we somehow get a safety car here, Gasly's race is as good as over. But I fear that we have accidentally ruined both Bottas and I think it was Russell we hit as well. I'm pretty sure we've just accidentally ruined theirs as well. But a 37-second pit stop plus a penalty probably going on top of that at the same time. There we go, a time penalty, 10 seconds. That is rough. So that's going to be a drive in, got to take the penalty, then we can get the repairs done. So now it's up to Tsunoda. Tsunoda's going to gain 1 or 2 positions due to people pitting, but it's just going to be all about him, and hopefully we can get a result. Some result, even if it's just 1 point, just a top 10. Let's fight for that. Gasly going to be coming out the pits in dead last. Bottas losing a couple of positions. Looks like he can carry on. He's 3 seconds behind 6th place Alonso though. And George Russell having to drop all the way down to 14th. That's going to be tough for Russell to get back into the points because Tsunoda, Norris, Ricciardo and Magnussen having their own little mini battle in the middle of the 1st and 2nd sectors.
I made a big flash spot.
After a few pit stops, Tsunoda found himself in the top 10. Yeah, unfortunately, a short spin and
big lock up there.
Yeah, just everything's slightly starting to go wrong. I think at this point we switched over to hards, got Yuki in the pits as soon as possible. He's not going to have DRS to keep him going, so if we could pit now, get it over and done with, hopefully you can come back out in a decent enough position and everyone else pissing in front. We've just got it's now damage limitation already. We're only 16 laps into the first race of the season and we're on damage limitation. We need a safety car or a virtual safety car. We need it quick. We need just something to get AlphaTauri back in a position where he can win some points. With Yuki out the pits though, we have both our AlphaTauris in 16th and 17th place. There's quite a few people still going in the pits at the moment, so we're going to be able to make 1 or 2 spaces. We might have to push Tsunoda a bit to try and catch up to Magnussen and Schumacher. There's an interesting battle going on there, and I think with a little bit of luck on our side, we can get involved in that group and maybe make a few passes. Still a long time to go in the race, so although there is a rush, there's not a rush.
Copy.
In fact, it only takes 2 laps and Yuki Tsunoda has caught up with the DRS train. This is one of the important things about F1 Manager. It's about staying in these trains and just trying to tactically prepare your car for any mistakes anybody else makes and for getting decent pit stops in. We're going to be harvesting the ERS at the moment. Got DRS to keep us going. There's 3 separate zones on this track, so that makes things a little bit easier to keep up with everyone. As long as we keep within a second of the car in front, we get DRS, and oh, that was close. I honestly thought Tsunoda was going to do a Gasly. It's now called doing a Gasly. Bottas, your actions in Hungary about 2 seasons ago. They've been forgiven. There's a new sheriff in town. Until lap 40 we kept Tsunoda on the DRS train, just chilling out there. Gasly meanwhile lets us know that he has a little bit of a problem with the tyres. With the data that we have on hand at F1 Manager, we can look at so many different stats, including tyre history, which we're sort of deciding what we are going to do with Gasly for the last 17 laps. We also have a few tyres left for Gasly, old softs from qualifying sessions. In the end, we just played it nice and safe and went for the mediums. That way, if there is a safety car and everyone else is pitting, then we can just stay out and hopefully make 1 or 2 places, depending on what happens with people in the pits.
AlphaTauri gained a place. Let's see what happened there. Now look at this. It was the AlphaTauri driver involved.
While the pit stop's going on, Tsunoda taking advantage of a Williams back marker, slowing down Magnussen, making a space. This is the sort of luck I was on about. Yuki stealing positions there for Magnussen. Hopefully this is the first of many. And this is indeed the first of many, as Tsunoda nails Schumacher as well on the DRS straight. Now all he has in front of him now is the 2 McLarens. And it looks like, oh, I thought he was going for a move just there.
You are doing a good job, so keep working.
In fact, Tsunoda has the speed on Ricciardo, so it's not within the realms of impossibility. And there we go, hang on. Tsunoda, get Ricciardo now. Ah, fantastic. Just Norris left. What? What? Now everyone else is pitting as well.
Let's
no.
Take a closer look. Daniel Ricciardo involved here.
Oh wow.
Use it there. That's the spin.
Where is my luck this race? And now with the DRS train all pitting,
dropping way back after
although Tsunoda's going up to 10th place, it kind of means nothing. If he kept up with Schumacher, we'd be fine, but everybody who's going in the pit now is going to come out together at the same time, and they're going to have a massive advantage with DRS to catch up to everybody else. So Tsunoda without DRS is much slower than the rest of the field in DRS. Oh, this is not going to go well. We fight on anyway. With another lap, we're just going to have Tsunoda just wear out those softs as much as he can. However, with the amount of laps left, I think that we can potentially survive on softs to try and keep up with everybody else. This, however, would prove to be our undoing towards the end.
Okay.
Through extra pushing, we managed to catch up to the 2 Haas and Russell, but 37% left on the soft tyres compared to everybody else's 50s. We should have gone mediums. We would have had a lot more to push with, and it might be a bit too little too late for Tsunoda. Whilst an 11th place would have been the points, it would have been a lot better than getting 14th. Gasly, meanwhile, after his absolute calamity earlier, having to settle for a 15th place by the looks of it. We have an opportunity with both the Haas fighting amongst each other to try and get a move in at the end, but aggressive blocking from Magnussen and Yuki just not having enough bravery to go through with the move, meaning we're having to settle for an AlphaTauri 14th and 15th. It was a rough race, but we learnt many lessons. Mainly, don't put Gasly anywhere near George Russell or Valtteri Bottas. Charles gets the win with Verstappen in 2nd, Sainz then Perez, Tsunoda 14th, Gasly 15th. Gasly losing 7 places as well. That was a tough one to take. We did, however, get a few of the sponsor objectives, but still lost a little bit of money on those. So the championship standards are as follows. I'd rather not look at them at the moment because we've got nothing at all. Any experience we gained on the weekend, it doesn't really matter either. We just have to suck it up and just move on to the next race, which is Jeddah. In the post-race overview, we're just basically told that we're rubbish, directors don't like us, but hey, here's potentially an up-and-coming driver who might even do better than both of yours combined. I'm pretty sure we're going to scout Theo anyway. If you've made it this far through the video, thank you so much. That is the end of episode 1. That could have gone so much better. But it is only the first race of the season. We've learnt. Hopefully we don't make the same mistakes again. Especially you, Gasly. I'm looking right at you. Jeddah is next, and with the speed of the circuit, it might actually suit us. So we'll see what happens. But there's only one place you're going to find out how well it went, and that is right here. So if you haven't already liked this video, please make sure you do so. Subscribe to the channel as well. Click on that little notification bell so that you never miss an episode. Let me know how you found the episode, how it was laid out. I try and do mine a little bit different to everybody else. I try and make it a bit shorter. Today's episode was a little bit longer. That's because it's the first episode. The first episodes, the pilots of the series, are always a little bit longer. From now on, it will be slightly shorter. It will be a bit more compact. And yeah, hopefully you're all enjoying it. But how you also enjoying F1 Manager 2022, let me know in the comments underneath. Let me know who you're managing as well. And yeah, I hope to see many comments down there. But until then, I'll let you carry on with your day. Whew. And hopefully next episode at Jeddah is I'll hopefully be sitting here a little bit more positive. Take care of yourselves. Most importantly, take care of each other.